Hello all, good morning. Uh, right now we are here for the our subject web designing. You know, its subject code is KCS052. Today we will have our introduction according to the given course structure in our syllabus by our university. So having a syllabus with us, it is guiding us that this subject web designing the web designing has five will have a 5 units. In that 5 units we have introduction. Firstly we have our introduction. In the introduction first of all we have our basic principles involved in developing a website. In introduction we will initialize our basic principles in developing a website and try to understand how overall when we try to make a website we visualize the things according to our environment, according to our goal. We need to check out the program according to the given technical constraints as well as requirement constraints from which to make our web from which we will able to make our website most effective for our users. For this we will go through the planning process. Okay, after that, now in the planning process we have several steps to be taken. First step is uh, we need to go for the requirement analysis part, and the second most important steps we need to go to technical analysis part. In the technical analysis part, we need to consider about the front end and the back end of the web environment. Okay, and then we go for the domain and hosting. What really this domain and hosting is all about? Every website should have its unique name. Every website should have its unique name, and that unique name is governed by international bodies, which provides us domains, and there is a mechanism behind it we will discuss in our further lectures, and which is here we need here explained in our unit 5th as a web hosting. In the web and that web hosting we have our topics in a syllabus: web hosting basics, types of hosting packages, registering domains, defining name servers, using control panel, creating emails in cpanel, using ftp client, maintaining a website. Now this all is the expansion of this topic, domain and hosting, in our unit 5. Then there is a concept of how to make a responsive web designing, because when we initialize our web development with the help of HTML in 90s, we are able to make a static web pages, and as with the help of the technology enhancements we are able to make a responsive web designing pages. That's why we have a two type of websites: static website and dynamic website. Static websites in which we are not able to interact with the user. That's where the static websites comes into the play. And second is dynamic website. In the dynamic website, user is able to play with the web page, and the most importantly right now more or less we are interacting with these type of websites only. you know Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, every social networking site, every e-commerce site comes in this domain. Now with time corresponds some malpractices also happens, if we in the development environment. So for considering that, because everybody want a maximum market space in the globe for their profit orientation business. So for that sometimes people create something on the web platform which is uh, which is just can be bought from their organization only. So some standards are needed to be revised to make it this web environment to available to the people around our world, our global world, around our globe. Because if we have this open platform, then only we can you know attract more people towards our this knowledge sharing platform. So for that we have our web standards, and this W3C is World Wide Web. World Wide Web. This W3C World Wide Web recommendations. So web standards and World Wide Web recommendations are those recommendations which helps us to analyze and or to learn and to give a pathway for learning our technologies which is used in our web environment. See, this web is something collection of web pages. This when we go for the web, we usually use the word website. Website is what? Website is collection of web pages. Website is a collection of web pages, and in web pages there are two type of websites: static web pages and dynamic web pages. Static web pages, we can't change or interact with content. Dynamic website, we can change or interact with the content in the website. So this is a small introduction of the website and how we process our thought to go for that. And before understanding this, before understanding this, this web platform, let's understand how this web platform works. Whenever we use to open a website like www.facebook.com, we get a page, and let's rub it up to understand it more deeply. In that web page, you will find out that we used to put our address here in URL. It is known as URL, Uniform Resource Locator, www.facebook.com. Now, when we enter here, then a web page comes, and if our network is having a low bandwidth, then we came across that first of all a skeleton of a website comes into the play. Okay, then we have our different spaces, then our news feeds, which is very much automatic. This is very much automatically it is updating itself. Automatically updating itself. Now how it is possible it is automatically updating itself. And the step we can understand that, first of all, we get the skeleton of a website. Secondly, first of all, we get the skeleton of website. Secondly, we have our color combinations. Thirdly, this news feed which is automatically updating itself. You know how it is going to work. Updation is going on without. And one more thing need to be considered: it is not manual. It is not possible. You know, from the whole world, once at a time, lakh people are interacting with Facebook website. More than lakh. So it is updating itself with some technology, and these technologies are known as backend technologies. And the front page, this skeleton of a website, these color combinations are known as the front end technologies. Let's have an introduction of front end technology and back end technology, and how this front end and back end technologies is going to make our journey easy in web development process. And how it is mentioned in our syllabus as well. This is web, and it is in a technical definition. It is divided into two parts: front end and second as back end. This back end we came across that is working behind the scene and automatically updating our information. It is taking care of all the updation which is given by the client of that website. First of all, let's come to the front end, the skeleton part. The front end in our unit, with the basic introduction of the topic, we have a basic introduction of the websites, or the types of websites. Then we move toward the first technology which is used for our web page development, that is HTML, hypertext markup language. So this technology, hypertext markup language, is firstly introduced by our father of web, you know, Tim Berners-Lee. We will go in deep, and it is a part of our half unit 1 of our course structure, web designing. In the second unit, we have elements of HTML, you know, how HTML works, and what analogies we can put in the HTML web page with the available domain what is recommended by the W3C consortium, World Wide Web Consortium. And for coloring part and blemishing part, we have our CSS, cascade style sheets. And for the updation purpose, at the client end, updation process is going on, and this is taken care by this client side scripting known as the JavaScript. So when we only use HTML plus CSS, we will get a I can say that in general we will get a static website. For the dynamic website, we need to add a validation verification process, and that is the scripting. We have a two type of scripting, client side scripting and backend scripting. Server side scripting. This backend is also known as the server, and that's why this scripting is known as the server side scripting. So this scripting, this JavaScript, is somewhat is responsible for our all the automatic processes which is going on at the client and which is getting support from this server side, this backend server side. And to help this, we have our technologies like PHP, Ruby on Rails, ASP.NET, Perl, Java, Node.js, Python, and all. So now with this introduction, you will came across that website is a collection of web pages, and in our unit, in our subjects units, we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you know this JavaScript only. This server side backend scripting is not in our course. It is in the coming courses known as the web technologies. Then in the last we have introduction of the web hosting and the search engine optimization. So this is the brief plan what has been proposed from the university to you for development of web from your side by learning this technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Let have some small summary of this. First of all, how we start? We start by giving introduction that unit 1 we have our in unit 1 we have our many principles from which we use to build our website. Then in process we understand what is website. It is a collection of the web pages. Then we move towards like what are the types of websites. So types of websites we have static website and dynamic website. In a static website we usually use the technologies HTML, and for web hosting we use the CSS. But to make this website dynamic, we also use responsive. We also use JavaScript, a scripting technology, okay, to make it responsive. Now understand this gracefully that this is the client side scripting, and for backend, whenever a response system will come, there should be a body which is going to accept the response and process it and update your answer as per your requirement. So in here in the web environment, we have this structure and known as the client server model. For understanding of this, we need to know this. For this, we need to have a client server model. Now, this is client, and this is server. Any client, any web page, you go to any web page, like we are taking example of the Facebook. You update something, it will go to the server. Server will update with its database. Again, here many technologies will come, and this interaction will happen. This is known as the client server computing. I'm just giving this small hint of this process. We will explain it further, just to make sure that you understand this technology. Now, at the client end or at the front end, we have our technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. At the server side, we have our technologies like PHP, Ruby on Rails, ASP.NET, Perl, Java, Node.js, many things, EJB, Java Beans. Overall, we understand that we have a many set of technologies to work together to make a website useful towards us. For this, many set of activity, mainly one front end technology, second back end technology, and thirdly we need to update a database as well. For this, sometimes to make interaction between these become tough, so we introduce a concept of integrated development environment. We have many integrated development environment within our within our domain of web development like Joomla and all. This is not in our course. Our course is this, and in further semesters we will go for some backend technologies as well, like Java, advanced Java, containing Java. We will figure out that in the server side we have technologies like servlet, you know, Java server pages from Java. We have our ASP.NET from this window. Microsoft technologies from the Microsoft technologies we have window plate or the ASP.NET platform, which used to develop in the .NET framework. Java, the Java based development is having some different ID like Eclipse from IBM, IntelliJ, many are there. So to make little things little bit easy, and for the Python development now it is a very hot cake. We have our PyCharm, and for supporting that we have our Anaconda support system. Many things are there. Many things are there, but the most easiest thing is to understand is we need to do coding. We need to do coding, and for code, when we understand coding, it will be the step by step process. So first of all, for starting a coding process, to understand this, and its best part of the web development is visualization. Whatever you will do, you will get a visualization at your end. You are not in a some thought process like what is going on. So in that visualization, we will understand how we are developing. That is the beauty of designing and web development. So web design will give you confidence as well as with time. With time, you will get confidence as well. And so we got our layers. First of all, we will focus on our front end technologies. Then we focus on our back end technologies. In add-on we have a database. That's why whenever some you will get on your subjects as well, you will get a database. Then for connecting this we need a network. So you have a subject like computer networks. So for processing these technologies you need a compiler. You have a subject like compiler, and for in that compiler we need to know some mathematical notation. That's why you go for the theory of automata and formal languages. Okay. What I want to say, whenever you are using a web development, you are using a whole process of front end, back end, as well as the database. In between, many technologies are interacting with each other. We need not to master all, but we need to understand it for basic clearance. Once our basic clarity will be there, we are able to explore as much as possible. So whenever you are going for the web development, have a reading spirit with you. This what I can sum up. Have a reading spirit with you. Have a curiosity how the things are going to work. Some little introduction of all things. Some little introduction of databases, networking concepts. Protocols. What are networking concepts are using. Then principles, how it is going on. Okay. So this is what introduction of web designing is all about. I hope you understand. So we need to focus this only the front end. This is the unit 1, front end introduction, HTML element. The second unit we have a JSS. Second unit we have a HTML element. Third unit we have a CSS, and the fourth unit we have a JavaScript, and the last unit we have our web hosting phenomena, which will be discussed further. Thank you for your patience.